Well, Minister Bheki Cele is leading the launch of Operation Shanela in the Eastern Cape as police, of course, look to sweep away crime in the province. Cele is joined by Deputy Police Minister Bheki Cele and National Commissioner Fani Masimola in and around Gqeberha. Crime in the province remains a concern as mass shootings and kidnappings leave communities in fear. Now, reporter Ronald Masinda is at the launch of that operation and he joins me now. Ronald, what's the latest you can tell us there? We know that Police Minister Bheki Cele will be, of course, leading this operation, and some very problematic areas in the Eastern Cape. Of course, Nelson Mandela Bay being one of those areas, Lusikisiki and some others, as Umtata being one of those, the top three basically with the worst crime in the province. But please, just give us an update.
Good morning, Baron. Well, the program is yet to start. We understand that the Police Minister, Bheki Cele, is at the Galvindale Police Station. This is where he is getting a briefing. And as soon as the program starts, we will go on a walkabout where he will make his way to the Galvindale Stadium, and that is where he will be briefing the communities in these hard-hit crime areas of the northern areas in the Nelson Mandela Bay region. Now, according to many people, the Nelson Mandela Bay region has been described as a gangster's paradise, so much so that the recent crime stats show that in the top 30 police stations, at least 4 police stations with the highest murder rate are from this area. And at the center, the root cause of the problem still faced here is the issue of gang violence. A lot of the people that we spoke to earlier this morning, very reluctant to speak to the media, are fearing for their lives, which is understandable, and the murders occur here on a daily basis. And one of the issues fueling the tensions are the issue of turf wars and also the sale of drugs. And speaking to an elderly couple of people who have been here for many, many years, in fact, the one male that we spoke to has been living here for 55 years. They say that the situation has gotten so out of control that a lot of the youth, they don't have the role models that they once had in the past, and some of them are even choosing to join gangs and drop out of school. And this is what they had to say when we spoke to them earlier.
But he mustn't come here once when he feels like it, when the crime is escalated to a point where you just hear gunshots everywhere where you go. We live in the area. We can hear it through the night. We can hear it through the day. And we know exactly the areas where it comes from. So his presence here today, we want to see action. We want to see affirmativeness. We want to see more police presence. The police mustn't also turn people away for domestic violence and just not the gangsterism and the crime that's going on.
Every time there's things like this is happening, but after a week or so you hear the same things. And my biggest concern is also, years back there wasn't the things that's happening now, like guns. Where does all the guns come from? If that is a situation that we can look into, have some home-to-home search visits and things like that, then things will maybe come right. I wish for the best of that.
Now, of course, Ronald, you mentioned, that Nelson Mandela Bay, Gqeberha, that it's a huge problem, gangsterism in that area now, and crime has basically just exponentially grown in that area. Operation Shanela, it is one thing to have this operation there, but of course there's much needed intervention. This problem is something that needs to be resolved for the long term.
Indeed, and one gets the impression that some of the issues faced by the police here in the metro is the issue of them being under-resourced, so much so that we also heard from the Democratic Alliance earlier this week advising the police ministry as to how they should approach some of the issues plaguing the metro, issues such as ensuring that there are enough vans, enough police visibility in areas such as Galvindale, and also the issue of cameras, security cameras, shot stoppers, interventions that in the past were very useful to spot those behind the shootings. So there are certainly a lot of issues with regards to the under-resourcing of the police, and also the police have not only to deal with gangsterism, but other crimes such as crimes that relate to gender-based violence, issues such as extortions, which have become quite rife in these areas, and the mass shootings that have occurred have also been as a result of alleged extortions between rival gangs fighting over who should they protect in terms of the businesses in the area. So there are wide-ranging issues, and people here are hoping to hear some positivity from the National Police Minister as to how these issues will be prevented going forward.
All right, thank you so much for that update, Ronald Masinda. Operation Shanela, of course, taking place there in Gqeberha. We'll be checking in with him a bit later. Police Minister Bheki Cele also expected to, of course, lead that operation in Galvindale, where they will be focusing on.